Hello, I'm Darryl Goodman, Director of Products with Achieve It Solutions. Today I'm going to be a sales manager in a wholesale distribution company. We're running SAP Business One 9.2 on HANA with Resolv. I'm starting at my dashboard, which is individualized for my user and helps me be able to manage my department. As you can see, front and center I have my sales employee performance. This is giving me information so that I can see how I'm doing against my targets, the actual sales that I have, as well as weighted potential of opportunities that might occur in the future. As we look through the graph, you'll see I get different information, as well as being able to see information and changing so that I can go through all in sales employees or switch to my highest contributor, who you can see is doing 50.4% of my performance. In addition, I also have indicators showing me that my gross profit is hitting target, as well as my sales return amount is front and center, so that if I have excessive returns, I can address it. I can see who my top customers are, as well as information such as how I'm doing revenue versus gross profit. In addition to the visual indicators, I have two other areas that are going to be important when working with the dashboard. One is the messages and alerts area, which helps me manage by exception. So here you can see, for example, instead of checking every single order, SAP has pointed out that there's been a deviation from my accepted gross profit levels that Bill entered. When I click on this, I can see that for sales order number 487, only had a gross profit of 4.1%, which is below my 10% target. I can drill into the order to be able to see why, and here I can see that it was sold for 125. I get Bill on the phone to discuss the order, and I find out from him that it's a typo, that he had intended to sell it for 225. Since I'm already in the order, I say that I'm willing to change the order for him, so I update the price and save the changes. Because I updated the order, I want to be able to see the history of this document. So there's a tool called the change log, which will allow me to be able to see the fact that it was originally entered by Bill, as well as the fact that I did the update. If I'd like to see what it looked like earlier when Bill did it, I can actually double click to be able to see a history instance and see that Bill had originally entered it for 125 before I made the change. Back on my dashboard, I'm going to use the other area called Common Functions to quickly take me to my sales and purchasing analysis, another tool that I can use to see how my performance is working. On this screen, I can change information such as filtering down to the current quarter, and I'm able to see how I'm performing both in terms of sales, cost, gross margin, percentage, total units, as well as information such as year to date. As you'll notice, this is currently organized by customer, but I can go into other tabs so that I could see, for example, how I'm performing by category, as well as item category, so that I can see large accounts and printers, for example. This information is useful, but also is able to be sorted by additional points of views, such as the item, the vendor, and I'm going to take a look at this by salesperson. As I look at the salesperson tab again, I can see how my performance was for each individual salesperson, so that I can see once again their sales and gross profit information. As before, I can use the sub-tabs to be able to see information such as how each salesperson is performing in their states, as well as being able to take a look at from the point of view of their item categories or other information. If I want to, I can filter on a particular manufacturer and be able to see how we're performing just within a particular type of product, as well as information such as different types of customer categories. Since we looked at our salespeople, let's take a look at information about how SAP can help me manage my salespeople. Here, you can see that I'm able to organize each of my salespeople into a commission group that's helping me to be able to track their commission plan. As you can see, we have the ability to define as many as we want, so I have a high, low, and medium commission plan, as well as being able to have individual user-defined commissions if I need to override them. By managing the commissions inside of SAP Business One, I enable my salespeople to see how they're doing on their commissions. So for example, if Sophie wanted to see how she's performing this quarter, she can quickly see the commission calculation for her performance. Next, let's look how I can use a campaign to help drive the performance of my department. In the campaign generation wizard, I can create a new campaign that I'm going to use to drive interest in my spring show. So you can see that I've entered a campaign name and the remarks. Next, you can see that by default it's an email, but I can change it to be a number of different types, such as mail, fax, phone calls, meeting, text messages, web, and other types of campaigns. In this case, I want to have my people call the customers to ensure that we get interest in our spring show. Since I don't want to call all my customers, I'm going to specify a target group, in this case the distributors, and I'm going to indicate that I'd like to be the owner of this campaign. Next, I'm going to specify an end date, so I'll say that I want all the phone calls made by the 15th. And since I'm not trying to drive a promotion on any types of items, I'll pass that. But you'll notice here that I'm able to indicate my partners, and I'm just going to go ahead and choose SAP, which you can see it comes up by default as a sponsor since they're sponsoring my campaign. Next, I'll be able to select which customers I want to add into the campaign. So you can see here I'm just going to choose my distributors, and they'll show up. Finally, I execute the campaign, which can go directly to Outlook, email, sending faxes, web, or making an external list that could be provided to another application. As we enter the campaign screen, you can see that it summarizes all of the information so that it's easy to see exactly how we're performing on our campaign. You can see here that it's showing me the distributors that we've added, as well as the fact that it's already created an activity and assigned it to Jason. If I look at the related activities, you'll see here that I have two different activities for Jason to do, and in this case, Jason is going to follow up and get a response from Anthony Smith. So as he calls Anthony Smith, he's able to keep track, and Anthony says that he's going to send multiple people. We keep track of this information in the activity or any other information that may have come up during the phone call. We can even create follow-up calls if need be. Since we got an affirmative response, we can keep track of that in the campaign with the fact that we actually did get a response and that they're interested. As you can see, we can define our own response types for any variations that may be appropriate. In addition to looking at the targeted business partners, you again have all the information about the campaign in one step, such as again being able to see the different sponsors that may be coming in, including attachments, which throughout the system give us the ability to browse, select the document, and then be able to have it attached directly to the system. If we want to display the document, you simply double-click it, and you're able to see the contents of the document. Since we've created a campaign and we have activities for our salespeople, we might want to see if our salespeople are performing their responsibilities. The activities overview allows me to be able to see the status of activities in the system, both open and closed, so that I can get a complete history of what my sales people have been doing. In this case, I want to take a look at sales calls, and I want to specifically follow up on trade show calls. As you can see, I have the ability to track other types of calls, such as AR calls, general calls, or even other types of subjects. As I look into this, you can see here that we do in fact have both Sophie and Brad with outstanding calls that they need to make, and that we have the information about Sophie. Since Sophie is a high-performing sales employee, when she makes phone calls, oftentimes she actually gets interest that goes beyond just a simple follow-up. So in that case, she's able to make an opportunity. If we take a look at one of Sophie's opportunities, you can see here that it's able to help us keep information in the system about the potential sales that might be coming from a customer. In this case, Acquient's system is researching their purchase, and we have the ability to keep track of their different status levels. So here, since they're only researching, we have a low percentage of closing, only 20%. But again, as you go through medium or hot, you have the ability to change the closing percentage, which in turn will adjust the weighted amount that this opportunity is considered in our revenue projections. As we go through different stages, you can see here that we have the ability to organize our sales process so that we start with a lead, and then we can go through and have first meetings, second meetings, and so on. This stage definition is completely user-defined and can be tailored to your business. If there are activities associated with this, again, you have the ability to drill in and see the activities, as well as working with any partners, or even keeping track of your competitors, helping you to be able to see how you're performing against competitors. In this case, you can see when I'm competing against a retailer supply company, I have a medium threat level, and I may not get this activity. If I see a trend because of my competitors, I may be able to adjust my pricing strategy or other go-to-market strategies. Once again, you have the ability to keep track of whether or not you've won or lost it, as well as any attachments that may be appropriate. Similar to the activities overview, when we want to take a look at how our opportunities are performing, we have an opportunities pipeline report. This gives me a visual display, and I'm able to see exactly how many opportunities we have and at what stage. So as you can see, I have 4 opportunities currently in the lead stage, as well as 15 that are currently in the first meeting. Based on the closing percentage, I'm able to see the expected total amount of revenue that I can derive, and I'm able to manage my pipeline to be able to get through. You can use this to filter on a particular sales employee or stage or any of the other filters. You can also drill into a section to see the data that makes up the value of that opportunity. And so here you can see that I have the information about the different leads that make up those opportunities. In SAP Business One, we also have a golden drill down arrow that's going to take us directly to the related record, in this case a customer or a lead that is used in this. As we look at the master data behind this lead, you can see here that SAP has included something called an owner. The owner ensures that I have control over who's allowed to see the customers and which opportunities and quotes are available to be seen by my different users. Since I'm a sales manager, I can see all my customers in the system. However, when I work with a particular customer, such as John Deere, you can see that I've restricted it to just Sophie. There are tools that give us the ability to share customers, but in this case, let's just take a look and see how Sophie is able to see SAP. Logged in as Sophie, I'm going to go ahead and create a new sales quotation. When I do my look up, you'll see that instead of seeing all the customers, I'm restricted just to the customers that I'm authorized to see. I select John Deere and we'll go ahead and enter a sales quotation. Earlier, when we were looking at Bill Levine, you saw that we had an alert indicating that the sales order was below our gross profit margin. However, in this case, Sophie is going to try to add a sales quotation with a 55% discount. When she does so, you can see that it actually triggers a request for approval because this is beyond her maximum discounting level. She enters a reason, such as "this is a sample, please approve," and in this case the quotation is not added and is waiting for approval. Logged back in as me, you can see that I got a new message and alert indicating that there's been a request for approval from Sophie. When I drill in, you can see that I get the information that she entered, such as saying this was a sample, and I'm able to drill in to be able to see and make responses to the request for approval. I can drill into the document to be able to see her quotation, and when I make my decision, in this case I'll approve, I'm able to quickly do so without having to go any further. Sophie also gets a notification, in her case indicating that I've approved the document. I hope you can see how the system is able to help you as a sales manager optimize your performance by being able to get insight into your department, manage by exception, control approvals, control the data, and be able to ensure that everybody is performing at optimal levels and that you're meeting your targets. Thank you for watching our video. If you'd like more information, please contact us at achieveit.com.